Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula, and welcome to today's Pokemon GO Raid Guide video. Today we're going to be covering the two Ultra Beasts, Celesteela and Kartana. Depending on where you live in the world, these Pokemon will be appearing in Ultra Raids, and you do not want to miss out on them because they are actually really good. I'm going to be telling you how you can defeat these raid bosses in this video, so let's roll the intro and get right into it. Okay, let's jump right into it. So, we got ourselves some brand new Ultra Beasts appearing in raid battles, the first of which is the Steel and Flying type Pokemon Celesteela, and the other is the Grass and Steel type Pokemon Kartana. Both of these Ultra Beasts are going to be appearing in raids depending on where you live, and it's pretty straightforward which one you are going to get. If you are in the southern hemisphere, you will see Celesteela, and if you're in the northern hemisphere, you are going to see Kartana. Now, both of these Pokemon are extremely powerful in their own right, but I especially think that Kartana is a huge standout. It is going to be the absolute best Grass-type raid attacker that is not a Mega Evolution, and that is something you do not want to ignore. Right, so with that said, let's actually start off with Kartana. So, this Ultra Beast is a Grass and Steel type Pokemon, which means it's going to have a double weakness to Fire types, and it's also going to be weak against Fighting types. Kartana is weather boosted by sunny and snowy weather, and it's going to have a perfect IVCP of 2101, and if it's weather boosted, it'll be 2626. The counters for this Pokemon should be pretty obvious. You will want to bring your absolute best Fire types, the top counters of which are going to be Mega Charizard Y or Mega Charizard X, Mega Houndoom, and Shadow Moltres. Other good Fire-type options include Chandelure with Fire-type moves, as well as Reshiram and Darmanitan. All of these Pokemon are extremely powerful against this Ultra Beast, and you will want to make sure you just have the best Fire-types, because that is going to help you defeat this boss with no issue. In terms of budget counters, you will want to go with either of the Mega Charizards, or you could go with Chandelure and Darmanitan. All of these Pokemon are fairly easy to obtain, and they are going to be cheap to power up. Something of note is that Kartana is not necessarily that tanky, so you will be able to take down this boss with the minimum number of trainers as possible. But that is of course if you have the perfect setup with Fire types and Mega Evolutions. That is how you could defeat this boss with one or just two other trainers. Now, I mentioned earlier that Kartana is the standout between these two Ultra Beasts, and that is because Kartana comes with a really good Grass-type moveset, which will make it one of the best, if not the best, Grass-type raid attacker in the game. Even compared to Mega Evolutions like Mega Venusaur, Kartana can still hold its own. It is definitely going to be an absolute powerhouse when it comes to Grass-type raid attackers, so you do not want to miss out on collecting this particular Pokemon. Next, let's move on to the other Ultra Beast that made its debut with Kartana, and that is of course going to be Celesteela. This Ultra Beast is a Steel and Flying type Pokemon, and it's actually going to be a little bit more difficult than Kartana. The reason for this is of course because there is no double weakness for Celesteela compared to Kartana's Fire double weakness, so unfortunately taking down this boss will require just a few more trainers than you typically would bring. Celesteela is only going to be weak against two types, and it's going to be Electric types and Fire types. As long as you bring the best of the best of each of these types, you should be good to go. Some of the best counters that you should consider include Mega Charizard X and Y, Zekrom, Xurkitree, Reshiram, and Raikou are also really good picks, and if it doesn't have Smackdown as its fast attack, you could also bring Shadow Moltres or Shadow Zapdos as well. Budget counters for this Pokemon include Mega Charizard X and Y, Darmanitan, Electivire, Magnezone, and Chandelure. Like I mentioned with the budget counters for Kartana, these Pokemon are pretty easy to get, and it's going to be a lot easier for you to farm up their candies and Stardust to power them up. Now that you've set up your team with all of these counters, make sure you're going with at least 3 other trainers. That's going to secure the win up against Celesteela, mainly because it does have a bit more defense compared to Kartana, and the fact that you do not have a double weakness that you could work with, this one is going to be trickier for sure. So make make sure you go with as many trainers as you possibly can, especially if you're looking for a Celesteela that is weather boosted. Celesteela is weather boosted by snowy weather and windy weather, and its perfect IV CP is going to be 1772, and if it's weather boosted, it'll be 2216. But unlike Kartana, this Pokemon is one where you do not want to get the perfect IVs, and that is of course because this Pokemon is essentially only going to be useful in the Ultra League. You will want to collect as many Celesteela as possible and trade them with a friend who also has a whole bunch of Celesteela so that both of you can end up with PvP IVs. Considering that Celesteela has a pretty decent moveset that is catered towards PvP, that is where you will want to focus in on. There are a couple of moves that could make it viable for PvE, but there are going to be much better steel types out there as well as flying types, so this is not a Pokemon that you should go after if you're looking for a really good steel type. Metagross with Meteor Mash is going to fulfill that role a lot easier, and it's not a legendary Pokemon, so that is my suggestion when it comes to going after Celesteela. And the same can be applied for the Master League. Metagross is going to outclass this Pokemon in just about every situation, so I suggest you kind of ignore going after perfect IVs and just try to collect as many of these as you can. So yeah, overall, collecting both of these Ultra Beasts is going to be highly valuable. While one of them is going to be very good for raids, the other one is going to be really good for the Ultra League. Depending on your playstyle, these are the targets that you should go after. If you're looking for a really good grass-type raid attacker, Kartana is the one that you should focus in on. But if you are serious about PvP, then Celesteela is one you should not ignore. And like I mentioned earlier, these Pokemon are kind of like regional raids, at least at the time that they were released, so you will want to utilize Discord servers and remote raid passes in order to get both of them. And just a reminder, Kartana is going to be spawning in raid battles in the Northern Hemisphere, and Celesteela is going to be in raid battles in the Southern Hemisphere. So if you want both of these Ultra Beasts, make sure you're communicating with your friends that live in those various zones. Alright, and with that said, that's going to be the end of this raid guide video. But let me know your thoughts regarding these two Ultra Beasts down below. Which of these two are you going to be going after? And are you satisfied with how Niantic handled their release? Let me know your thoughts down below and let's have a great discussion. And if you ended up enjoying this video and found it to be helpful, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, big or small, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. For every single one of my patrons, they get a permanent spot on my in-games friends list, so if you want to interact with me in some way within Pokemon GO, like with remote raids, then make sure you go and check out my Patreon. Alright, and that's going to be it. I'm Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.